Before I get into the lights that I'm about to show you that I picked up to put underneath on my truck, we're going to go ahead and we're going to discuss the differences between an inline fuse and relay. Now, what a inline fuse does is it allowed me to put in the plug that you're looking at right now and bring it on over and tap it into this power outlet so that this socket is not drawing any power while my vehicle is off. Now, as you can see, I have the inline fuse running right through there. That's what an inline fuse looks like. That's where you put anywhere from a 5 amp to a 30 amp. So right now, you're looking at my fuse box and you see all these nice little relays. Now, the difference being is that these little nice relays are for more of a direct connection to your battery, where your inline fuse is more of a splice and a tap into a regular power that's already done. So you don't want to just go putting an inline fuse holder somewhere as you shouldn't, such as your e-brake, headlights. Same thing that goes for these relays. You don't want to go tapping any power because you can use a relay for something else other than just a direct connection. I mean, if you really wanted to, you could use a relay to tap power elsewhere in the vehicle. But again, you don't want to tap from your headlights and other places where power is absolutely needed. Now here we have the rocker switch that I bought through Mictuning for around 12 bucks. I'm going to go ahead and put the description in the link. Now if you take a look, right here is the wiring diaphragm. You have the black where it goes to the ground, as you can see. And then it says to battery, to light. So that means that you're going to have some fun when you start wiring. But we're going to get into all that in a second. Now, here are these nice lights that I picked up for 70 bucks through MXLights. I'm going to go ahead and put the description in so you can look at them. Right here is the light. Very nice. I couldn't be happier with it. Real nice protection for underneath, wherever you want to put it. I'd say about 16 gauge wire, just looking at it, and an estimate to 18 gauge. And then we have the bolts for it that you're going to be using a drill bit for, which I'm not going to specify the size. The nuts for it, if you're putting it underneath or using them as running lights for off-roading. Now I picked them up in blue. They come in red, yellow, white, and green. So here's the car that I'm going to be using for the purpose of this video that I'm working on for somebody. So now what's going to happen with this here rock light switch is if we're using the relay, we're going to tap the power from the battery that sits underneath this hood. We're going to run the line all the way up through. We're going to mount this nice rock light switch wherever we want to put it. And when we run that line through, we're not only going to run one red line, but two positive lines. Because as you can see, you got your ground and from the battery, and then you have out to the lights right here, as it showed in the diagram. So it's just going to make it easier if you're running through your firewall, what you're doing, you're tapping a hole to mount it. And the ground can be actually ground to the relay. It can be ground into a piece of metal, anything so it's grounded. And the same thing with an inline fuse holder if that's how you're going to do it. So now we are underneath the vehicle where we're going to be mounting these lights. And I'm just using this vehicle that I'm working on for an example. I don't really like showcasing my vehicle at all for safety reasons. But as you can see, I'm going to be mounting one light right here. And what's going to happen is I've got 8 of them. So we're going to go on down the vehicle. And we're going to keep going through. And that one line that we tap that goes out to the power, to the lights from the rocker switch, we're going to go through and tap the holes wherever we want them and bolt them. So we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So at the end of the time, you're looking at all the lights going on down through and how they're going to be lighting up the vehicle for on each side. Now we could also be mounting them up top here in the wheel well and running the wires through very carefully. As they'd come down through, you'd be putting 4 up in through here. You could put them up underneath the grill. Anywheres that you're going to want extra light if you're doing anything off-roading or just trying to show off your vehicle. So now that we're sitting back in my vehicle, let's go ahead and take a look at these lights. Again, you have red positive, black ground. Now you're going to need to go to Walmart's, Target, anywheres that's going to sell wiring from 12 gauge to 18 gauge. Now I just picked up electrical wiring at Walmart's last night for around $6 for 30 foot of each red, each black, so $12 altogether. Your fuses you can get and spend anywhere from $2 to $25, depending if you're going from a fuse, and there's several different types of fuses, to a relay. So as you can see, this is what it should look like when you start hooking your positive and your negatives together. Positive to positive, negative to negative, but you're also going to be running extra wiring because obviously these don't come with enough to go from front to back in your vehicle. Now you're also going to need to pick up electrical wiring connectors, and the type that you get is fully up to you. There's several different types that you can use, but I'm not going to discuss all that. I'm going to leave that up to your discretion and wherever you go. Whether it be Walmart's, Advanced Auto, AutoZone, wherever you go, they're going to be able to help you with the wire connectors. Now I do also leave it up to you for you to look up wiring diagrams and to know what you're doing and where you can safely tap power from in your vehicle and where you can't safely tap power from. I don't hold any responsibility or liability if you do anything wrong on your vehicle. If you don't know what you're doing with something like one of these lights, leave it up to a professional or someone that knows what they're doing, or maybe just skip on by and don't buy it and lose out on a little bit rather than screw up your vehicle. Some people charge anywhere from $150 to $200 to install these just because of the electrical work alone. Now I also recommend that you have a wiring tester to constantly check your connections. You don't have to do that, but if you spend 2.5 to 3 hours putting these on and all of a sudden they don't work, you're going back through each and every light to find where you went wrong. So when you sit there and you're doing it, you just know where you last had power from, which makes more sense than spending 2 to 3 hours more trying to find out where you went wrong. But overall, you can test each and individual light, which I will show being tested off of a 12-volt battery. Light up, so that way you know with what light's working, which light isn't. This is very nicely made. I'm absolutely happy with it. Pretty soon I'm going to spend another $70 and I'm going to get another set to go underneath my truck for when I go off-roading. The boxes that they come in are very nice descriptive of what you're looking at and how you could do it. Right here, as you can see, I got blue, LED rock light, LED mercy. And then you look down. Now, what you can also do with these lights is they don't have to be treated as rock lights. You could use them for running lights for off-roading. You can even install them in the back of a van. You can install them in your cab. But again, you have to know where you're going to start mounting them, so you don't want to mess anything up. And you're also going to, like I said before, need to figure out the right size drill bit that you're going to be using. The back is covered by 4 Phillips heads. Very tiny. It's got a piece of heavy-duty plastic coating on it, so that if it's exposed to the weather conditions, it's not going to get in there and short out your wiring. And what I'm even going to do when I go to install these in my vehicle over the weekend is I'm going to take a little bit of caulk and I'm going to caulk them in. Now, I'm not going to be showing my vehicle running with them, but they are pretty nice. Made of metal. Got your glass right there, your 3 little LED lights. I could describe at least 4 or 5 different ways to wire these in, so that when you go to use your signal or your 4 ways, these will work with it, even when running off of the switch. But that's going to entail more wiring, more inline fuse holders, splicing power from other places that I'm okay with tapping power from, where I wouldn't recommend you tapping power. I've just been doing this a little bit longer and feel safer and have a little bit more of a know-how to do it. If you don't know what you're doing, please just strictly use them with the rocker switch for their imperfid tendon. I can't even speak right now. In other words, just use them for what they're meant to be used for. Don't go getting all kamikaze on them and trying to do something that somebody more advanced in electrical wiring can do. I will show how it should look a little bit better when you actually have line running in between the two lights. And then you can get the general idea on how they're supposed to be hooked up. But again, if you don't know what you're doing, leave it to a professional or someone that knows what they're doing, where they could safely draw power from before you ruin your vehicle or start an electrical fire on your vehicle itself from burning them out. So that's why I'm going to recommend that you get a 12 to 14 gauge wire that you run in between. Well, it might be a little overkill, but your heavier gauges and your thicker gauges, other than this, will take a little bit more of a current than this will before it shorts out and you have a major electrical problem going on. There's 100 different possibilities if you screw this up that you're going to have a problem on your vehicle. In the one segment of this video, I'm not going to be speaking, but rather showing. Pay attention to how I have the wiring. Power source running in, light connecting, power source running out to the next light, so on, so forth. And then I even left these open for more lights. Things you're going to want on hand when you do this: heat gun or a soldering gun, electrical needle nose, electrical tester, soldering line, connectors, needle nose vice grips, different types of connectors, heat shrink wraps, tape measure for measuring, another different type of connectors. If you use those connectors, you're going to need this special tool.